We have the Cleveland Cavaliers, as of recording, 16-14, taking on the New York Knicks, 20-8, as of recording. There's going to be no Evan Mobley in this game for the Cleveland Cavaliers, which immediately raises my brow because the Knicks have been one of the best offenses in basketball all year long. The Cavs quietly just been like a top 10 unit or been around there all year long, even though it's been kind of clunky at times. But oh boy, this Cavaliers defense since Evan Mobley's been down, and honestly, this Cavaliers defense compared to where it was last year, it just has not been the same. And so top of mind for me is what this Cavaliers defense is going to attempt against New York's offense with the way that it's humming right now. It's a 125 offensive rating in the month of December per cleaning the glass for the New York Knicks. Second, only to the Boston Celtics, who continue to stack wins, but we'll talk about them at a later date. But this offense versus defense battle, and more specifically, what the Cavs plan to do against Jalen Brunson is top of mind for me in this matchup, Steve.
Well, I think the issue for Cleveland is not that they can't score. I mean, we've kind of dissected because of how good they were offensively last year. Hey, what's going on? Can you drive? Can you generate the kind of shots you want? But they can put the ball in the basket. The issue is, defensively, it has not been very good. And they can't afford that combination. So just looking at their last 5 games, they gave up 126 points to the Washington Wizards. They gave up 119 in a loss to Charlotte, 127 in a loss to Chicago, 136 in a loss to Chicago, and 132 against the Charlotte Hornets in a win. With the way the Knicks are playing offense right now, with the way that their ability to run in transition, their ability to flow in the half court, the way that Jalen Brunson is playing, Mikal Bridges is shooting, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to have to make a decision on what they want to do defensively. They have to show up on that end, or it's going to be a fun night in the Garden for the Knicks fans. Because New York's playing too well offensively right now for Cleveland to think that they can get into a shootout.
Yeah, and to the transition point very quickly, because I think that's been my biggest annoyance with Cleveland. And honestly, I just kind of want to sit with Cleveland for a bit, especially since we are fresh off of breaking down the New York Knicks, and we'll have plenty of more nice things to say about them.
Please go watch that breakdown if you have not, or listen to last week's pod. It was great.
It was very good. It was very good. We got clips and everything for the YouTube folks. But with the Cavs, with transition defense, like you're wondering about what the general effort level is, how quickly you're matching up, even before the transition opportunity starts, like what is your floor balance? So how easy is it for you to match up with folks? And it just feels like all of those things have hit as of late for the Cleveland Cavaliers. There have been so many transition opportunities for the opposing offenses where we got pointing, we got a big, we're just going straight to the paint. We're not matching up with someone directly. It is a deep paint touch, and now we're all over helping, and here's a kick. And then you can just kind of play out of that. Wide open 3, or we're driving and we're keeping you in rotation. And I think top of mind, before we even get to the half-court stuff, Cleveland just has to grab bodies in this basketball game. Like, we are fresh off of talking about the New York Knicks and their emphasis of pace and tempo. We want to get the ball across half-court, especially if we're getting misses or forcing turnovers. But even after made baskets, we want to get it up. We want to get into our offense early. You have to make sure that you're able to account for someone early and give yourselves a chance. Like going back through some of the offensive possessions for New York in their matchup back in October. And it's a lot early in that game. It's a lot of, well, Sam Merrill, you may not have this assignment yet, but you kind of have to because of how quickly New York is pushing this up. High pick and roll. We're getting downhill early. Let's see what you want to do about it. And this is a game in which they had Evan Mobley on the back line that can clean up some stuff. You don't have that now. With all due respect, Dean Wade is a little bit different at the 4 than Evan Mobley is. I would imagine more switching in general, and I'm curious to see what New York looks like against that.
Let's hang there, because I was going to say I'm in the spirit, despite it being what feels like 87 degrees in Texas. So I'll shoot the Cavs some bail. What if they are able to be a little physical off ball? What if they're able to nail some switches, keep the Knicks away from, getting in the paint and forcing them to be in rotation and kind of bogging them down that way? I mean, we've seen the Knicks struggle at times with physical defenses. Switching can sometimes slow their tempo down. So is that a way for them to do that? Again, Cleveland could score. Can they get enough stops for it to be impactful is the question for me. Then again, though, you get into the matchup hunting. And so Donovan Mitchell, you're going to have to be ready to guard Jalen Brunson. Darius Garland, you're going to have to be ready to guard Jalen Brunson. Sam Merrill, welcome back. You're going to have to be ready to guard Jalen Brunson. Anyone is going to be able to get it with the way that he's just been able to dictate terms. So for the Knicks, it's just do what we've been doing. For the Cavs, it's can we put something on the table to remind everyone what we could be, even though we haven't been able to get there consistently this year.
Yeah. And this is how, we've been doing the podcast for a very long time together. So, like, at the very top of my note section for Cavs-Knicks, I have the Cavs' last 5 games and their results and the points they gave up. So that is funny. Third bullet point that I have, because of the guard or guard wing stuff, no pick and roll ball handler has gotten more switches than Jalen Brunson at 216. James Harden is the only other guy above 200 with 214. It's over 1.1 points per possession on trips featuring a Jalen Brunson pick and roll that gets a switch. He has been phenomenal against that. And so, to your mismatch hunting point, yes, all of those Cavs guards are going to be ready. And a question that I had attached to that was, how aggressive does Cleveland want to be behind their switching? Like, do we want to just be switch and just show some early bodies? Is this going to be any kind of switch and double? Because again, without having the Evan Mobley variable to where maybe we can go switch and double up top, and if we do have to rotate, we can funnel things inside, you got to deal with Evan Mobley at the rim. Can they afford to do that? Or which lineups do you employ that if you can? Is this something that I'm generally curious about, independent of if it actually works? But I wonder how often they even get to that in this game.
Well, the tricky part is going to be with New York and what they do offensively. They just kind of have, like we talked about, some triggers to get into their spacing. And so there's going to be a lot of just random screens where it's a step up. Do you want to switch? Are you going to show with Garland or Mitchell early? Is that going to trip you up? And then there's going to be another screen that comes after that. And there's going to be space because they're cutting. So can Cleveland piece together both of those things? So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they start, how they adjust, and where they go to next. Because I think the worst thing you can do is let the Knicks be in a rhythm, let them flow, let them play how they want to play, especially with the way Tyler Cole's gotten downhill. Like, everyone's just kind of in a rhythm. And so it's on Cleveland to find something. I have a fun fact for you, though.
What's up?
This is the Cleveland Cavaliers' first Christmas Day game since 2017.
Okay.
The Cavs all-time are 6-0 at home and 1-7 on the road on Christmas Day.
Well, this didn't seem to bode well for Cleveland. But while we're here, I kind of want to switch gears because it's a lot of, hey, what is this Cavs defense going to do against New York Knicks offense? And rightfully so, considering what the Knicks offense has been and what the Cleveland Cavaliers defense, particularly their early/transition defense, has been. This Cavs offense is currently 10th per Cleaning the Glass as of recording. In the month of December, they're 8th in offensive rating. Donovan Mitchell is having himself one heck of a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's only so much you can take in terms of big picture takeaways with Charlotte's defense overall. But Sam Merrill comes back, shot making is there, his off-ball usage is there, some timely drives from him. Darius Garland looked a little bit more comfortable. And I think in general, like, the efficiency numbers are what they are. But, like, he is getting a little bit more aggressive. His drives are getting a little deeper into the paint. He's more comfortable taking pull-up threes, or again, waiting on that pull-up threes percentage to normalize for him based on the level of shooter he is. But starting to hunt out more of those. This Cavs offense against this Knicks defense could get kind of interesting. Like, they can tap into some of the mismatch hunting as well. And I'm curious, is there anything that you're anticipating Cleveland tries to poke at with New York's defense, as they have been quietly kind of middle of the pack in this month, and they're 14th overall this year?
I think it's going to be poking at the Knicks base defense, because while the Knicks have gotten better and they give good effort, can we get these drives? Can we get in the paint? Can we force you to help? Can we get to drive and kick? And I would anticipate them to poke at the Knicks bigs on defense and see, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to be in a drop? Do you want to try and be active? Can we get two on the ball? Can we get downhill? Do we have opportunities for Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland just kind of impact the game that way? We put Jalen Brunson in action. We get some switches to maybe get Bridges or Anunoby or Hart off of some of these guys. And we let our guards get downhill, make plays, and we play off of that. I mean, because this team does also get up and down. So this is where it gets tricky, because both teams are going to try and get up and down. One team is going to shoot well, the other's going to try and figure it out, and it's going to go back and forth. But I would anticipate, okay, Kat, what do you want to do in pick and roll?
Mm-hmm.
You want to be up? You want to be up at the level? Hey, do you guys want to keep the ball in front? How much movement do you think we're going to do? Are we going to get up quick? And are you ready for these drives? Are you ready to help? That's probably where Cleveland's advantage is in this one, or at least our best case scenario.
Okay. I like it. Both teams get up a good bit of threes. That's been one of the more dramatic shifts for New York, if you're looking at the whole season deal. 7th in three-point rate as of recording. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 4th. They still get them up, much like they did last year. And again, adding Sam Merrill back into the mix, it's a minor thing. Like, I'm excited for, like, the Spain pick and roll package to be fully back on the table for Cleveland. They still sprinkled it in while he was out, but now using him as a back screener, testing out Karl-Anthony Towns, some of the low navigation there, testing out Mitchell Robinson, some of the low navigation there. A fun mini battle that I am anticipating in this one. So I'm excited to see what that part's going to look like. When we get to the second unit, Steve, when it's Donovan Mitchell plus bench or Darius Garland plus bench, Brunson plus bench, etc. Whose second unit are you higher on heading into this matchup?
The Knicks.
Pretty good call. Okay.
Are you higher on the Cavs second unit?
Not higher, no. I am kind of intrigued by some of the lineups they could toss out. Like, I think for me, once we get into Mitchell plus bench or Garland plus bench, like, it does feel like they can kind of ramp things up in terms of athleticism. Kind of lean more into running with some of those units when they get smaller. And then this also brings up the variable of, okay, which version of DeAndre Hunter are we going to get in this basketball game? So I'm intrigued by that. If we do get into any kind of late clock situations, if we are expecting switches on both sides, like we have seen on the high end, DeAndre Hunter can knock down shots and keep things afloat. We have also seen on the low end. And I would say overall, I have felt worse about the Hunter experience this year compared to last year when he joined Cleveland. But on the low end, it's catch and hold. We get some late clock shots that we don't like. New York's able to run there. So like I'm just curious to see what that portion of the program is going to look like. I think there is a level of variance there between the two.
Okay.
Did like that one. I see.
No, I'm trying to figure out, do you believe in Cleveland's bench or are you worried about DeAndre Hunter? Which one is it?
It's yes, I guess. Like, they have interesting pieces, and DeAndre Hunter serves as an X factor, as he always is, because of the shot making. But if it isn't there, then that removes the level of margin for error that Cleveland has. It's already small against New York, because I'm expecting them to be the better team in this one. But I want to get your thoughts on what the second units were.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to take the next second unit. That's humming.
That's fair. That is fair. Last one I have on this one for me, more of a grander thing. Like, how much zone do you think we see in this one from Cleveland?
Well, here's the thing. When would it be a good thing for Cleveland to be playing zone? Is this because, hey, we want to try and slow you down? Or is this because, hey, we're not guarding very well? And how many times has Cleveland gone to a zone when they feel good about their defense?
Not often enough, I think is the most fair way to answer that question. It's something that they wanted to sprinkle in some last year as well, but it has felt more like an emergency button than a counter from a position of strength like we saw in cases last year. And then you also have like the Mitchell Robinson variable. Like, if he's out there when you try to go zone, like, what does the offensive glass look like on that front? So again, just kind of see what kind of answers we may see from Cleveland on that front. But this, not the easiest matchup, but this is also Donovan Mitchell in a big game, Jalen Brunson in a big game. Like, the shot making should be a pretty fun battle in this one. But that is where I'm at. Back to the Knicks, as we are, again, fresh off of talking about them. I wanted to ask about Tyler Kolek, as you brought him up a little bit earlier. Do you anticipate seeing more from him in terms of minutes, in terms of role or anything like that? Or do you kind of like where he is?
Here's the thing. How much more is there to be had? They do have pillars on this team. So I think for me, the fact that Mike Brown is willing to throw him out there, let him get a longer leash in fourth quarters is a good thing. I think he's found his pocket within the Knicks offense. I think he competes defensively. He's been aggressive. And so Mike Brown's not afraid to throw a three-guard lineup out there. So if Tyler Kolek has it going, that can help you sustain second quarter, fourth quarter. So I think he's good where he's at.
Okay. I think the fourth quarter stuff is kind of what sparked it, because it feels like he's getting more leeway in those runs running a little bit deeper in those quarters before the Knicks close with their main guys, the pillars, as you mentioned. But no, listening to Mike Brown talk about him is the other reason why I wanted to bring him up, in addition to what you said, because he seems to really like and has had no issue empowering Tyler Kolek, and I've enjoyed his minutes. So, last quick one I had on there. Did you have any other Cavs-Knicks questions or thoughts before we move to the next game?
No, I would like to move to the next game, Nekias.
All righty, fair enough. What may just be the main event of this Christmas Day slate, assuming that everyone is healthy, we got Spurs-Thunder again. Now, as we record on Tuesday morning, we are getting Spurs-Thunder later tonight. May have some pieces missing in that one. But if everyone's healthy, we are getting Shea, we are getting Wemby, we're getting Fox, we're getting Jalen Williams, just a whole lot of star power, a whole lot of drives, a whole lot of defense, and a whole lot of static between these two teams. If you are reading into any of the quotes pre or post game, any of the chirping that we saw in the semifinals game in which the Spurs were able to knock off the Oklahoma City Thunder in that one. And so naturally, a lot of my questions in this game surround, one, availability, who's going to be there.
Everyone's going to be there. Everyone will be there on Christmas Day.
I sure hope so. So assuming everyone is available then for Christmas Day, I do circle back to Wemby. One, how much will we see of Wemby? So heading into the Tuesday night slate, it's been 4 games since he's been back, averaging about 20 minutes per game. I think the season high, or the high since he's been back, is 21 minutes. Does this get bumped up to 25? Do we see him in the starting lineup, since we haven't seen that yet? Like, I wonder just what the general ramp-up period for him is going to be like. He's listed as questionable for the game today or later on tonight. And so just how much Wemby do we see? And naturally related to that, it's back to the defensive impact for me. How does OKC look to move him around? Do we see something as simple as more ram screens for him? If we're going to go pick and roll, let's hit him first before we flow into something. If he's going to be spaced, where do we want to space him? Do we want to space him in the strong side corner? Do we want him on the wing to try to complicate some of the help responsibilities? Because it was pretty stark, and I have numbers on this, but I'll wait on that. Pretty stark what the shot profile for OKC looked like when Wemby was on the floor versus when he was not in that semifinals matchup. So I am just curious about the Wemby of it all.
Well, I mean, if you recall that game, there was a lot of switching from the Spurs, and it was a lot of Victor Wembanyama retreating to be that low man. So going from switching, defending the wing, sliding back to the block, and so they would switch again, and so he would then be the low man. The fun part about Coach Daddenall and the Thunder is when you show them something, they generally have a counter. So I'm intrigued to see how they like to counter that. What do they do to try and confuse those switches? Do they try and throw it off? Do they attack quicker? Do they look to attack different areas of the floor to kind of counter what Wemby was able to do? And as you said, move them across the board in different spots. The interesting part is I'm not sure when Wemby's going to start. It seems like, one, they're managing the calf because we're not playing around with calves ever again, ever.
No one should.
And secondly, we're not going to rock the boat. We're playing very well. So he's going to be a 6th man of the year candidate for me in about 2 weeks. Yeah, prepare for that. So what I would say is now it's going to be the battle between, okay, what does OKC do to respond? But you got to remember, OKC was able to control tempo early in this game. And so they were really able to protect the paint. They were meeting Castle, Fox, Harper on any drives. And the Spurs weren't able to make them pay with threes. And then OKC on the other end, looking to get downhill, looking to tackle and score. So which version of this game do we see? Is it the one we saw in the first half before Wemby came in? Is the one that evolved as Wemby came in? How do they want to treat Wemby when he's posting up? We put wings on him, we put guards on him. How much help do we want to show before the catch? Because San Antonio started to really control the tempo on their end once they realized, okay, you guys are not only showing help once he catches, you're trying to help before he catches, and now we can get different skip passes and play out of it that way. So it all gets interesting there. It's a fun back and forth.
I like it. I'll say quickly, we are not about to have a repeat of like the Marina Mabry joins the Connecticut Sun and comes off the bench, and we are now making her a 6th woman of the year candidate. We're not doing that with Wemby. There's no way he's going to come off the bench enough.
How do you know? You don't have predictive powers.
It's been 4 games. Like, I don't think he's going to be coming off the bench for the rest of the season. Like, I am sorry.
What if he does?
Then you will have that face, and I will have this face. And I'm just gonna have to hold that. What would happen. But I just
smiling gleefully. Get the spirit. Come on, man.
I'll let you have it. Anyway, to the Wemby post-up portion, I did want to hang there for a bit because one of the things we talked about was where the Spurs wanted to get Wemby his touches in, as you also mentioned, the kind of help that OKC was showing beforehand. Like, hey, let's see if we can front. Let's have a guy come in behind. Wemby tries to turn. You got 2 bodies. We're zoning up. We dare you to make these passes. And it complicated some of the reads for Wemby. At the very least, it slowed down how quickly he wanted to make those reads. We get into the second half, Wemby looked more comfortable. We get to the 4th quarter, looked this up, did some filtering. As I was yelling about the Spurs getting Wemby touches in the middle of the floor, he got 6 of those, Steve, in that game. All 6 of them came in the 4th quarter of that basketball game. And looking at what his last 4 games have been on this front, so he had 6 in that OKC game. He had 6 against Washington, the first matchup. He had 1 against Atlanta, and in their most recent game against Washington, he had 3. So it was 6 against OKC. It's 4 over his last 2 games combined. I do wonder if this ramps back up. If they just skip steps, it's like, you know what? We had some success in that 4th quarter. We know you're an aggressive defense overall. Let's just start this early and see what you want to do. Because if we can complicate your help and your aggression early, you may get into, okay, how do we want to handle this? And that's further complicated if, for some reason, like we don't get Chet or Hartenstein or some combination of those two, and we have more Brandon Carlson than we're anticipating. Like, I am curious to see like what the Wemby usage and where it comes from is going to look like in this basketball game.
I mean, a little bit of everything. He'll get the pin down with the guard screen for him. He'll get a cross screen into the post. He'll get a straight post up. He'll get a catch at the elbow. Like, they're going to move him around the board. The key for me, if we're sticking with Wemby, and I will apply this to the whole Spurs offense, what do these drives look like against Oklahoma City's active defense? Because there's a lot of drive and kick. And Wemby, for all the great things he did in that cup game, the drives he didn't have a great time on. A lot of swipe downs, a lot of flails, it wasn't enjoyable. So how does that adjustment go for either team? But OKC's likely going to stick with, okay, can we just keep these guards in front? Can we force them to kick, and can we live with these shots? And can San Antonio make quicker decisions than they did at points in that cup game? That's where I'm intrigued. But I mean, for OKC, I think for them, they probably feel like we could play a lot better offensively. And I think we're a little bit more prepared for the answers that you gave us. And so, I don't think we'll be as sped up. This is a game where OKC is able to kind of get to the second level of the Spurs defense and continue to make them grind. Because the Spurs defensive effort was good. I mean, Devin Vassell was battling against Chet as well. So how do we kind of manufacture and get you back to a position where, okay, you can't be as decisive defensively. You can't necessarily have the same mindset that you had in that game. I'm intrigued.
No, I'm right there with you. And it's funny because we capped our like Thunder Spurs conversation after that game with talking about who the proverbial second best team in the conference is. As of recording, Steve, the San Antonio Spurs are now the 2 seed in the Western Conference right now. And so we did naturally talk a good bit about the Spurs. But now we're just kind of here. Percentage points right now, as Denver's the 3 seed, they have the same record. But that is a funny one for me. Can I ask you a Thunder-related question?
Sure.
Related to this game, but also kind of independent of this game.
Sure.
Where are you at on the Lou Dort season, or just the Lou Dort experience overall?
I'm fine with it. I mean, I think I like the fact that OKC has him initiate a little bit more. He's trying to get downhill. He is who he is defensively. I don't think Thunder fans have felt great about it. I'm not sure why, but I don't mind. They're a collective. They're a very good basketball team. Everyone was telling me how historic they are. Why are we? I don't get it.
That I guess to bounce off of that point, it is funny. Like when a team is 26-3 and they have the highest point differential in the league and one of the highest ones in league history, and all of the superlatives with the Oklahoma City Thunder group, it's not easy to point at like 8 different things that they need to be doing better or whatever. So like Lou Dort, I think within that lens, is just one of the easiest things, if not the easiest thing to point to. Like, hey, this isn't going as well as we thought. Like, I think he has been good defensively. He hasn't been at his normal, like, all defense level, at least in my view so far. Like, I've been a lot more impressed with Case of Walls, for example, so far this season. And I think any slippage defensively from Lou Dort, not that thing's going to be sustained because he's dealt with his own injury stuff this year too. But, like, if Lou Dort goes from an A defender to a B+ defender, that's not a big deal in the scheme of things, in the grand scheme of things. If it goes from A to B+, while also he's shooting 30% from 3, for the first time in a while, because like one of the quiet growth areas for Lou Dort over the last 2 or 3 seasons has been, he's, defenses still aren't treating him like a super threat, but he is knocking down shots at a pretty high clip right now. When you have both of those things happening at the same time, I think that's where it really feels worse compared to everything else, because again, as you mentioned, this has been a historic run for OKC to start the season. And so for me, like, I'm kind of antsy about what it's been. It was nice to see him go 3 for 6 and made a bunch of timely shots. And I think that first half in the game Monday night. But just like, I want to see a little more consistency from Lou Dort. If for no other reason, then like everybody else feels more impactful in this, in this context.
So here's the thing. If he has it, he plays more. If he doesn't have it, they go to one of the other demon wings that they have.
This is true.
I'm just not, I'm not moved. It's not like you're in a scenario where Lou Dort has played 35 minutes a night. He played 22 against the Suns. He played 22 against the Spurs. He played 18 against the Clippers, and then he played 29. And then it'll go up and down.
Yeah.
Not moved.
Okay. That is fair. But this is why I want to get your opinion on the Lou Dort experience. Again, there are only so many things to poke at with OKC right now. Like, it's Dort, it's general health, it's turnovers and 3-point shooting. And like to the latter two, again, we saw pockets in that Suns game in the quarterfinals. We saw what happened as the Spurs made their run during the semifinals. So you always keep track of the turnover bit. The 3-point percentage thing has kind of corrected itself as the season's gone on. They're very good. But I'm curious about the Dort of it all.
Well, I do have a question for you.
What's up?
I wonder what it's going to feel like in that building. Do you think that is going to have an element, Nekias?
Yeah, they have one of the best home courts in basketball. And I guess a little bit different, a neutral site game in the cup semifinal. And now you are coming to like that's a little bit different.
Oh yeah, the first game is in San Antonio. The game on Thursday is in Oklahoma City. Let me tell you how the Oklahoma City crowd takes losing or the thought of you not holding them in a certain reverence. It gets very loud, and they let you know about it almost immediately.
Yeah. Do you think we get the Wemby gets booed every time he touches the ball bit? The other opposing stars or, players have beef with fan base or vice versa?
It could. That'd be interesting. I know there's going to be a roar if he ever turns the ball over and at least OKC dunk. But I'm intrigued to see how the crowd element kind of balances things out there.
That's fair.
It's going to be Oklahoma City's first home Christmas Day game since 2017.
2017 just seems to be the year.
Yeah, no.
For this Christmas fit. That's a good stuff.
What a great year.
I will say, if we do get that kind of element, like Wemby seems to have the mental makeup to be there for it. I don't think he's going to be rattled at all. I don't think any of these Spurs are going to be rattled, honestly. Like De'Aaron, like all of them have a collective I don't care about you type feel. Because we'll filter it that way for the podcast. So that could make for some fun runs and some fun basketball.
Are you cursing? All right.
No, I am not.
Okay. Well, bet.
I don't do said bet. Okay, any closing thoughts or questions on Spurs-Thunder?
Well, I have one question for you.
What's up?
Can you name the 3 players that have scored 40 or more points with 15 or more rebounds on a Christmas Day game?
Oh, my. Well, Wemby was one.
That's correct. Did it last year.
40 and 15 on Christmas, you said?
Correct.
Have we gotten one of the Jokic games?
That's 2.
Okay.
He's on a heater, folks. Let's go.
And this is where it all falls apart. Oh, okay. 40 and 15. So, did we get a Shaq game?
No.
Darn. I get a Shaq. I don't think Embiid had one of those. I don't think Bron's got the 15.
We got him, folks. We got him, Dunkers.
Anthony Davis?
No.
This is gonna bother me. It's gonna be an obvious name too, and I'm gonna yell at myself. Who we got?
Wilt Chamberlain. And while Nekias Duncan recovers from that moment, we are going to take a break for him to find his mind, and we'll be right back with more Christmas Day breakdowns.
It's always Wilt.
The Yahoo NBA YouTube channel is live. The smartest NBA coverage on YouTube 5 days a week. Watch the Dunker Spot with Nekias Duncan and myself, giving you elite X's and O's and film breakdowns like no one else can. Kevin O'Connor going to analyze the game, give you the sharpest hoops conversation you can find. And every week, Tom Haberstroh and Dan Devine will be breaking down the stats that define the league on the big number. Plus, fast daily NBA updates and trends from Dan Titus to keep you ahead of the timeline. If you love basketball, welcome home.
And we are back with this episode of the Dunker Spot, and I will never not guess Wilt Chamberlain for any Christmas-related trivia ever again. But anyway, it's time to dig into the third matchup of the Christmas Day slate, Steve. We got the Dallas Mavericks. We have the Golden State Warriors. Wilt Chamberlain, technically a Warrior back in the day. It's the 5 o'clock Eastern game. There's going to be no Derek Lively for the Dallas Mavericks in this one, out indefinitely as he had another foot surgery. So get well soon to him. Might complicate the big man room for Dallas a little bit, but this will be the first official matchup between the Golden State Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks this year, which is exciting. And top of mind for me, Steve, or I guess second in mind, because one is just this Steph Curry on Christmas again, and you never know what he's going to pull out and how many deep threes he's going to make. Second on the list for me, Cooper Flag versus this Golden State Warriors defense, and more specifically, Cooper Flag versus Draymond Green in the half court. And that could be Draymond Green just outright getting the Cooper Flag assignment. As we know, Draymond, one of the best / unique defenders that we have ever seen. Him poking at the handle against Cooper Flag when he's in pick and roll, him dealing with some of the Cooper Flag post-ups, all of that excites me. How's Cooper going to deal with that? Draymond can get handsy. He can also get deflections. Could be some foul trouble for Draymond as we talk about some of the interior craft that Cooper Flag has on some of these post touches and some of these drives. And then there's the off-ball component for me, Steve. If someone else gets the Cooper Flag assignment outright, or if it's just we're matching up randomly in transition or whatever, it's Draymond Green quarterbacking things off the ball. It's Draymond Green as a helper, as a roamer, especially as Dallas trends bigger with some of their matchups. They may just employ Draymond as a roamer in this matchup. So I do want to see like what they decide to do with him. Do they want him more on ball or off ball? But Cooper Flag, as he has cooked overall this season and has been on a heater as of late, he's going to have to make good and quick decisions against a Golden State defense that quietly ranks 3rd in the NBA per clean the glass as of recording. And at the high end, aggressive group, plucky group off the ball, and Draymond is a monster in and of himself when he's fully engaged. So I'm excited to see what that half-court battle is going to look like, Steve.
Well, I think it gets interesting because you can't forget the Jimmy Butler portion of it. And how do you want to handle and put Draymond as a roamer to defend Flag and Anthony Davis, depending on where Anthony Davis catches the ball. Maybe Draymond's on Anthony Davis, who knows? But I think it gets interesting there for Dallas as far as being able to sustain offense, get up and get into what they want. And do they just default to matchup hunting? You know, we know what Jason Kidd has done. We've seen Cooper Flag put different people in pick and roll. And so I think it's more about, okay, can we get downhill? Can we make a second move? Can we find the right kicks? Can we generate enough offense consistently if you're Dallas? I'm more concerned with how Dallas guards Golden State, especially with how they've kind of found a little bit of a groove, getting back to their movement, getting back to just keeping pressure on you. You know, if it's Jimmy Butler with the second unit, okay, we can use him as a screener. We can post him up. We can kind of find different ways. But could Dallas sustain defense against Golden State, I think will be a key. But I think if you're Golden State, if it's Draymond, you know it's going to be a mixture. Off ball, I can come double, then I kick you out of the matchup. I'm going to roam and I'm going to help on the weak side. So it's a good back and forth.
Should be a good time. I actually want to hang on the Golden State Warriors offense for a bit because I think, to your point, they have found their flow with their movement, and then the fact that they can also get into the mismatch hunting bag with Jimmy Butler in particular is a lot of fun. I guess from the Dallas perspective, what do you anticipate them trying to do? Is this just going to be a switch deal for them?
I'd imagine a lot of switching. I mean, they have a good amount of size. It'll be interesting to see how much they want to put Nembhard on different people. But if you have PJ, Najee, and Cooper, you can do a lot of off-ball switching. It's just you're going to have to make sure you keep eyes on 30. And Steph Curry, the beauty of what he does is there's so much of what he does that's flow-based that you're not necessarily, like he has a counter for whatever you want to do. And he just kind of lurks. So, okay, you want to deny him? Cool, I'll just cut to the paint. And I'll go out to the other side, or we're setting you up to come off a pin down in the middle of the floor. You just never really know what his next step or action is. And he's been putting the ball on the ground and looking to get in the paint a little bit more. So he's going to be ready to go for this one, especially with the return of Klay Thompson, his only game at Golden State this year. And a person who's been looking to let it fly off the bench, I assume will continue to look to let it fly off the bench.
Yeah, I think I think the feels are just going to be there. I'm sure we're going to get some kind of video, and that's going to be a good time. Like this kind of sets up that this is going to be a loud Klay Thompson game some kind of way. This is either he checks in, here's an immediate 12 points, or we end this game and we look at the box scores like, man, Klay took a lot of shots in this one. He was amped for this one. He didn't have the success that he wanted. Like, I don't think this is going to be an average Klay game. That he's going to blow up or it's going to get kind of hazy. That is my prediction with that one. I think kind of circling back to the Cooper bit and still within the context of Golden State's offense. I honestly wanted to ask you how you felt about the growth of the Cooper Flag defense since our first rookie report. Because I think this also, similar to the offense a bit, this is going to be an interesting challenge for him in this matchup.
I'm going to reverse carding this question to you because I was fine with Cooper Flag's defense. How do you feel about Cooper Flag's defense? Has he grown on that into you?
Yes, I feel better about the Cooper Flag experience, both on and off the ball. But like I want to set that up, get your thoughts, etc. Because again, similar to the offense, this is going to be a unique challenge. Like it's not going to be let me just switch and try to keep ball in front. It's going to be switch and then wait. Is there a back screen coming? What kind of cuts are happening? If I'm on Steph Curry, like how do I navigate that? Is a screen coming? Some of the foul drawing stuff that Steph can get into with some of the leans that he does. To your point, when he does get downhill. It's not as blatant as some of the other guys, but like he's very good at reading defender body language. Like, what does that look like? If Cooper Flag picks up an early foul in this game, how does that affect his defense and how aggressive he may want to be? Like, this is a very unique test for Cooper Flag. Like, that's probably my biggest picture thing about this entire matchup. I just want to see how Cooper handles this.
Well, are you more concerned about that or Jimmy Butler trying to put his elbow through his chest?
I guess more concerned about the stealth portion, but like I am concerned about both. Or I have thoughts about both is the more accurate way to frame it. Because like, I think he is strong enough. He has the frame to handle some of the Jimmy drives. But hey, man, this is lanky teenager. Jimmy Butler's very good at finding your arms. He's gonna have to stay down. But like I do think the discipline overall for Cooper has gotten better. And for whatever lineups Golden State tosses out there when they have one or two non-shooters out there, if you can unlock Cooper as a roamer, I think he can make some things happen, particularly at the rim, kind of thwart some of the late cutting that Golden State can get into. So like I think there are still ways for him to win in this matchup, but it's going to be a challenge. I'm excited to see how he handles it.
Well, the number one thing for Dallas is I think you just have to try and get enough stops and get out in transition. The interesting part would be how much of the movement does Golden State get to consistently? Because if you recall, the Dallas Mavericks played the Utah Jazz, and they did not have a good time defensively trying to find bodies based on Utah moving around consistently. And so can you kind of find a way to bog the Warriors down, get yourself in a position where you can run off stops, get some easy ones, and now, okay, we can set up some switching, get to show some help that we want to show, and put ourselves in a stronger position that way. That's going to be kind of the back and forth for me. And so I think Cooper Flag against Jimmy Butler is something I'm earmarking because I feel like that's one of those things Jimmy Butler may secretly be motivated about somehow. I'm not sure.
You never know with Jimmy.
Who knows? But I'm intrigued. What do you think about the Anthony Davis portion of this game, Nekias?
Like it always kind of comes down to like what types of shots is he taking from me? Like, can we get him deeper catches and put immediate pressure on the rim? How often does he want to drive? Which I think is really interesting one against this Golden State defense, which again can be very active in terms of their help. Though they do trend smaller with some of their lineups. If you're having Moses Moody swipe it down, Gary Payton II swipe it down, Will Richards swipe it down, etc., like that can get a little hazy for the Anthony Davis drives. And thus does that default him to more of the jumpers. If he doesn't have it going, if it's a bad process game for Anthony Davis, if Golden State springs some double teams on him and he doesn't handle those well, this could get ugly quickly. But like he does have a general size advantage against these guys. And for whatever time he isn't being defended by Draymond Green, he has some matchups he can win. I'm curious about that. I like that question. Where are you at with Anthony Davis, period, with Dallas right now?
I think I just, for me, would like to see a better blend of shots. I think of his field goal attempts, he's got 107 in the restricted area. He's got 52 in the paint non-restricted area. He's got 52 mid-range shots. And he's not shooting very well in the paint or from the mid-range. So can you get to the type of shots that you want to get to, or is this going to be a mid-range special and you're hoping for that to work?
I think it only 3.7 free throw attempts for Anthony Davis this year. It speaks to your point about just how jumper heavy it's been at times, or just how paint non-rim heavy it's been for Anthony Davis in this one. So I like it. Can I be maybe not negative, but I do have a Warriors rotation question.
What's up?
Do we see Jonathan Kuminga in this basketball game?
What do you think?
Like, I hope so.
Do you?
I mean, yeah, like I don't love this situation for him. Not that he is faultless in it, because I think we talked about earlier in the year, hey, Jonathan Kuminga, not only driving, but he's doing the little things. He's getting off the ball, defensive effort's been better, rebounding's been better, and it's cool. That did not sustain, unfortunately.
You were waiting for the shoe to drop while it was happening. What do you mean?
This is why I was like, I'm not putting a stamp on this yet, because we've seen good stretches before. I want it to be the case. It's unfortunate that it hasn't been the case yet. And so now this is what, DMPs in 4 of his last 5 games or 5 of his last 6 games. Like, I would like to see Jonathan Kuminga out there. Like Dallas, to your earlier point about just the overall decision-making team, both of these guys want to be able to force turnovers, get out and run. Dallas 19th in turnover rate. Golden State's 26th. Golden State very good at forcing turnovers. Like, this could set up to be a Jonathan Kuminga transition game if Golden State's able to bother the Anthony Davis post touches or the Cooper Flag post touches, or if the guard play isn't there for Dallas, which honestly, that's a pretty big question looming in this one. Like you already mentioned them hard a little bit earlier, but just what level of guard play do we get from Dallas? Like the forwards and the bigs are their best players, but like, do you get enough supplementary production? from that guard room is going to loom large. But yeah, like I think there's a spot for Kuminga in this one. I just don't know because like Steve Kerr doesn't appear to. I don't say he doesn't appear to know. Like he's made his decision pretty loudly as of late. So I just wanted to at least say his name on the podcast. Like it's been one of the more odd subplots of another season for Golden State, just in terms of how much they want to rely on him. And we're here. So
say his name, he doesn't appear. Do you have any other thoughts about the Warriors and Mavs? Can we talk Houston Lakers?
Yeah, we can talk. I guess last thing I'll say that we move to Rockets Lakers. I was annoyed earlier in the year when we talked about Dallas. It was like, you have all this size. Like, why do y'all not kill teams on the offensive glass? I do wonder if this is like a per game bit, and this is actually a game in which we're like, hey, let's try to beat up Golden State on the offensive glass. Like, does that give them a margin to win in this matchup? I want to keep an eye on that one.
Hey, so you know what gives you a margin to win? Making shots to the Rockets and Lakers.
That would be helpful. All right, Steve. Well, as we move to the Rockets and the Lakers, first, we got LeBron James. We got Kevin Durant. It's always cool when those two guys are on the opposite ends, and it's even cooler when they guard each other. So I wonder how often we actually see KD guarding Bron and Bron guarding KD. But as of recording, 17-9 Houston Rockets, the 19-8 Los Angeles Lakers. The Rockets and the Thunder are the only two teams that are in the top 5 in offensive and defensive rating per clean the glass right now. Lakers 6th on offense, 20th on defense. One, I hope everyone plays. Luka Doncic staying out in the game later tonight as he's dealing with a calf contusion. Hopefully he's good to go on Thursday. Austin Reeves, I think, is making his return later tonight. They've been kind of slow playing that one. Don't want to play with anything of the lower body there. So assuming health, this is an interesting matchup. And I kind of want to see what these half-court defenses look like in this game. I think for the Los Angeles Lakers, they, once again, are a very switch-heavy unit. They want to show a lot of bodies. The Houston Rockets, the offense has been very good overall. But in the half-court, they have the propensity to get bogged down with physicality more than anything, but with the switching in particular. And so, like, this is an interesting stylistic clash there. And with the Rockets, they have better defensive personnel. But if this is a healthy Lakers group, this is Luka Doncic, this is Austin Reeves, this is LeBron James. Do they ramp up the pressure at all? Is this going to be a drop game for them? How much zone do we see from them? Like, I am intrigued to see what these teams try to do against each other and what their half-court offenses look like because of it.
Understood. I mean, I think the thing is they both have a method of being methodical because of the players that they have. So Houston can get slow in the half court, but you also have Kevin Durant. You have Alperen Sengun playing at this level. The Lakers have pressure points with LeBron and Luka and Austin Reeves. So it's one of those deals where, okay, who's going to get the type of shots that they want? And then who's going to hunt what type of shots? Lakers probably going to feel comfortable with switching. Okay, how many people do you want to switch on Alperen Sengun? Because the Rockets will not hesitate to look to get him the ball in different areas of the court. So now is DeAndre Ayton going to be in the switch list or is he going to be in the drop? Does that open up Kevin Durant pull-ups? What's the game there? And so if you're the Lakers, okay, how many switches do we want to hit? And then for Houston, I think they're just a physical active defense. And so can you just kind of bog and bother the Lakers and get them out of some of their attempts at movement and get them out of some of their flow? Similar to kind of what the Clippers did early, as far as we're just going to try and beat you up a little bit. We're going to try and slow you down. And now, okay, it's a lot of post-ups. It's a lot of pick and roll. It's a lot of one attempt or bust type possessions. So who can get who out of rhythm is interesting for me. But I mean, this is a treat, Nekias. It's Kevin Durant and it's LeBron James playing against each other on December 25th for the first time since 2018.
I thought you were going to say 2017 again. I was like, hold on, dog. But no, that tracks.
No. And this is Luka's potential first game, Christmas game as a Laker. We got a whole lot of Rockets making debuts. And the Lakers, fun fact, have scored 115 points in each of their last 4 Christmas Day games.
We'll talk about consistency. Complimentary if their defense shows up, derogatory if it doesn't. So that is a neat one. So 2 things from me, Steve. Quickly on the switch front, mentioned the Lakers lead the league in switch rate, switching about 39% of the ball screens that they've seen so far, and they switch a ton off the ball as well. The Houston Rockets, 28th in offense against switches so far this season. There is a real basic inflection point there. if the Rockets cannot generate clean looks against this Lakers defense, which, again, they have their formula, they have not been very good compared to the rest of the league. If the Rockets struggle against this group, one, I mean, you just don't want that. That gives the Lakers a higher chance of winning, etc. But like through the lens of these conversations that have been had about the Rockets as of late and some of their late game foibles, which I do have a secondary question on that front for you as well. Like, I would imagine the conversation just gets louder about what Houston's half-court offense is, especially as you start thinking about playoff stuff, because they're certainly going to be good enough to get there. But I'm keeping my eye on it. And I guess can bounce there quickly, Steve. We get into the final 5 minutes of this game, and it's a close one. Whose offense do you feel more comfortable with right now? Like, it feels like the Lakers for me.
Well, considering the Houston Rockets have lost a whole bunch of clutch games this year, including 2 to the Pelicans and Kings, I believe that answer to the question is pretty simple. Yes, it's the Lakers. I mean, I think for Houston, it's been an interesting adjustment to watch this team that already plays slow get slower later in these games. And so part of it is they built these leads because, hey, we know we want to get to offensively. Yeah, we can be a little methodical, but you still have to deal with us. We can get stops, we run transition. They built leads and they beat Denver. So this is not sky is falling type behavior. The problem is they play slower and now they get themselves into one option or bust land, whether it's a KD pick and roll, whether it's a Şengün elbow touch or post up. It's just that thing that they're getting to. And so for me, I would like for them to get into something, get pressure on the defense, and then play out of it. So it's been fascinating because we've seen how Kevin Durant helps this team. We've seen the attention he draws, but now we're seeing a Houston Rockets team that last year had to figure out how do we operate knowing that we're not getting 2 on the ball, right? We're not going to get a double. We have to figure out how to generate offense. And now we have moments where Şengün gets doubled in the game, KD gets doubled in the game. Clutch, KD's getting trapped. You kick to Şengün, we're right there on his catch. You want to throw it back to Kevin Durant, that's another trap. Doesn't even matter if there's a screen set. And now they're having to navigate and figure out, okay, how do we make teams pay in these moments when it's 2 on the ball? And so I would like Amin Thompson to be a little more aggressive. If he's going to get a flash catch on a Kevin Durant double, don't just look to get it right back to KD or Şengün. Try and attack and make the move. Keep an advantage. These are things you have to learn. And so, yeah, the Houston's played well, but they still have to learn how to beat some of these teams. It's part of the process. And so I think it's going to be interesting if this is a close game. But at the same time, they're a good team, man. Like, that's just my observation. They just have to get themselves out of just complete, okay, we can tear our foot off the gas type territory and just find a way to punish, you know? Because they've had opportunities a shot away in some of these games. It's like, all right, what do we do? What do we do? Now we're in low clock scenarios. So is it going to be Reed Shepherd setting a screen? Where did you set that screen? If the defense is able to show and recover, now it's KD has to create something. Did you gain an advantage? Those are the kind of things where it's like, okay, I think you guys can clean part of this up. Because KD Şengün two-man game has been excellent for a lot of this year. And it's put a lot of pressure on teams. You get 2 on the ball. It's been positive. Now you just got to take the next step.
Right there with you. I guess quickly to the clutch point, the Rockets, as of recording, 6-8 in clutch games. The Los Angeles Lakers 10-0 right now. So yeah, that firmly answers that about who you should feel better about heading into this one. To the Houston late game thing, like I continue to come back to like, hey, you kind of need to trust Reed in some of these. And Reed Shepherd really feels like a major X factor in this game. One, just because of how ignitable he is to steal a turn from Eric Spoelstra. But like, there is an interesting balance between what he can unlock as a shooter, a pull-up shooter, occasional driver, a playmaker. You mentioned some of the screens. I do want those screens to be better, but as a screener. But then there's the other end. And I think if Luka
You saw what Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook was looking at Reed Shepherd like on the come here, buddy.
So to that end, if you have Reed, he should help the half-court offense for the Houston Rockets. However, that is giving Luka Doncic or Austin Reeves or LeBron James, or if they're in action together, some combination of those two, something to poke at late in games. And for a Laker team that has already been very good in clutch time, and in general, they have been one of the better half-court offenses in basketball, that's going to be a tough thing to navigate for Ime, I would imagine. And so, like...
He trusts him. I think the thing for me with Reed Shepherd is put him in a spot where he can punish the defense when they help. If Reed Shepherd on the court doesn't help if it's going to be Kevin Durant, late clock scenario, or I pass the ball to Alperen Şengün and I'm one pass away, they didn't double, there's 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Like, they've got to fix that portion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, a Reed Shepherd pick and roll is great in clutch, but now that becomes, did he make it? Did he miss it? I don't know if he's not going to get the same attention. You know? We're going to lock in on these two, and we all have to figure out a way to put pressure on us outside of the last 8 seconds on the shot clock.
No, I think that's fair. I think a couple other things for me that I'm kind of curious about heading into this matchup. One, the Lakers have been a pretty good defensive rebounding team, and this is despite having injuries in their front court. The Houston Rockets are the best offensive rebounding team in basketball. That's going to be a middle battle. That's going to be a mini battle there. That could swing this basketball game. On top of that, to the Amin Thompson portion, I think you nailed it with the offense. He's going to have to be more aggressive. He's going to have to convert some of these shots inside the arc. Like I recently talked about like what some of the non-dunk finishing has been like for him, what some of the mid-range jumpers have been. Like you just want those shots to fall. Defensively, I am curious, as this is going to be the first Laker-Rockets matchup of the season. I wonder who they have him guard. And I think that's also going to be tied to, like, are they keeping Josh Okogie in the starting lineup? Like, are you giving him Luka? Are you giving him Austin Reeves? If you're giving him Reeves, that's likely Josh Okogie on Luka, or do you go Jabari Smith on Luka? Like, again, there's going to be an element of switching for Houston, as you always point out. But, like, I am curious, like, what eBay wants in that spot.
I mean, I think what Ime has looked for is these two are the guys who are going to be disruptors defensively. And any time we can have Kevin Durant in a position where he's roaming and helping us on the backside, that's been a positive for us. Like, I don't think Kevin Durant has got enough respect for his weak side defense this year and how important that's been for Houston. So I think that would be probably the ideal setup. You two, whatever, take these two. Well, let's figure out how we can get KD roaming and then Jabari, do your best.
Yeah. So curious about that one. But beyond that, like you mentioned at the top, it's KD and LeBron. Like we have to enjoy these matchups for however many we have left of those two facing off each other. So I am excited to see that. But it's going to be an interesting one. I think the narratives are going to fly based on the result of this basketball game. But I am excited about this one, Steve. Did you have any closing thoughts, questions, notes that you didn't get to?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. Last thing for me, Houston 5th in opposing free throw rate. The Lakers get to the line a bunch. That's going to be another one, especially tied into the offensive rebounding stuff. So I'll sprinkle that one in. But yeah, I'm amped for this one, Steve.
You guys send us to break after bringing in free throw rate.
Well, fine. We hope you are still free. If you are, stick with us. We'll be back after this break. And we are back with this episode of the Dunker Spot. And we close things out, Steve, with yet another matchup between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. The Wolves 19-10 as of recording. The Nuggets 21-7. Again, 3rd seed, virtual tie with the San Antonio Spurs right now. This will be their 3rd matchup of the year. Denver has won the first 2 matchups. This is going to be the first Nuggets-Wolves matchup of the season without Aaron Gordon. Since both of these matchups happened, I think we had an October 27th one and then a November 15th matchup. And so for me, like obviously Anthony Edwards looms very large in this one for Minnesota. But to Denver's defense as a whole, without Aaron Gordon, I am curious to see like how much that changes for what they want to do against Ant, or just how much that changes for them scheme-wise in general. Because I do think, with all due respect, I have enjoyed the Spencer Jones experience. I know you have also enjoyed the Spencer Jones experience. It is a little bit different than Aaron Gordon in some of the matchups that he can take on. And so, like, I just wonder, like, does that shift things for Denver matchup-wise? Do we ramp up pressure against Anthony Edwards? Are we more conservative against Anthony Edwards because of this? Like, is it just going to be business as usual? Like, I have some questions about that one heading in. Just how much will Denver miss Aaron Gordon in this particular game?
Well, I mean, I think part of it is which end will they miss him more on is something you could also say. I mean, I think with Denver and what we've seen them when they're humming defensively, it's particularly against Minnesota, is okay, we're going to show you different things. We're going to try and show you different coverages. We're going to try and keep you out of rhythm in a different way. So, you know, it could be Jokic, who are you guarding? Who's Jokic guarding? Can we put Jokic on a non-shooter? Can we make you force Jaden McDaniels into a screener in a different way? You know, that's just one of those things where I'm trying to figure out, okay, what decision do they want to make? And how amped is Anthony Edwards going to be for this matchup anyways? That's where it gets tricky.
No, I think that's fair. Like, I think for me, like, it's also tied to, like, Julius Randle as well, because naturally you would have Aaron Gordon taking on Randle. You could turn any of those Randle pick and rolls into switches if you want. There's a level of roaming that Aaron Gordon can do. And to your point, Steven, I think it was a fair question. The offense, too. Like if Nikola Jokic is getting doubled on any of those post touches and you got Aaron Gordon either spacing the opposite corner or just kind of roaming the dunker spot area, those are lob opportunities. And like a quiet thing that we, I guess, haven't seen with Denver is when Spencer Jones is in that spot, like you're not getting the same, like that's not as viable as an option. Not that he's never made that dump down pass to Spencer Jones or anything like that, but like, you know, the lob radius isn't the same. It's not as automatic on some of those. And so like even something this small as that is something that I'm kind of keying in on. Like, how does that affect what Minnesota wants to do? And again, like back to the Randle portion, like, is this Spencer Jones on Julius Randle now? If you want to keep Peyton Watson on Anthony Edwards, because that was more so the bit in the November 15th matchup. That was the first time we saw Ant against Denver because he missed that first matchup that they had. And so, like, do you keep it static that way? So, like, I always kind of key in when I'm talking about specific games or series, like, hey, what are these matchups going to be like? What do these teams want to do? Much to your chagrin when we have these conversations. But I do think with the Aaron Gordon variable, it is an actual interesting one that can shift things on both ends of the floor. So I want to start there.
Okay.
Naturally, we do also have Nikola Jokic in this game. You brought him up already. He has been incredible this season, for one. Against Minnesota over the past few years. Like, this has probably been like my favorite matchup to watch with like a Jokic-centric thing. Because on one end, you have seen him put like Rudy Gobert inside the basket. We've also seen, hey, let's put a wing or a forward on Jokic. We're going to have Rudy Gobert roam. Let's see how you want to deal with that. Like, it's been a really fun, like, cat and mouse with Minnesota dealing with Jokic as a concept the last 2 or 3 years. So, like, that always excites me. And again, with some of these injuries and some of the different lineups that we'll see in this one, just like how creative does Minnesota get with their defense? Like, can they afford to do some of the cross-matching thing and use Rudy as a roamer? Because, like, in a vacuum, yes, I could put Rudy Gobert on Spencer Jones. Do I want Julius Randle guarding Nikola Jokic when we know we need him to get buckets for us and make plays for us on the other end? Like, do I want to give him that kind of burden? Like, I don't really want to do that. But if it is Rudy on ball on Jokic, he's going to do his best. Like, I do think he does a pretty decent job of making him work at the very least. Jokic just wins because he's Nikola Jokic. If this is a Rudy Gobert foul trouble game, it gets kind of dicey for Minnesota's defense if Rudy just isn't on the floor. Like, that has been, even with Rudy not being the A-plus version of himself defensively this year, when he goes to the bench, like, it just changes how they want to guard, how effective they are, what the rebounding looks like, and all the things. So, like, I do think the Rudy Gobert component is a pretty important one in this matchup.
And you know who wants you to think that? Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Hey, come over here. Yeah, you come guard me. I think that's a key one. But I think for Minnesota, you have to really kind of put Jamal Murray in a box.
Yes.
I think he's the one you have to try and take off the board. And then, okay, whatever Jokic gets, he gets, but he can't ding us with everything. So we've got to just make sure Jamal Murray's gone. We can't give up the easy ones. I do want to very quickly, before we get back to this, go back to your matchup point when it came to Denver, right? And how they want to guard. The one thing, if you recall, in their first matchup, it was one of the few times where I started to realize, okay, teams are working to put Naz Reid and Julius Randle in the box. And by that, I mean, we're going to make whatever you do a switch. And so they essentially had Spencer Jones on Randle. They had Bruce Brown on Naz Reid, and they had Peyton Watson on Anthony Edwards at times. Mm-hmm. And then Jokic was on insert player here, just roaming. And you know how Denver defensively likes to have him in a spot where, okay, I'm the low man. I can tag, I can roam, I can help. And so, you know, if Anthony Edwards wants to counter with the post-up, Jokic is roaming off a non-shooter. You know, if you want to drive, he's sticking in the paint, someone's going to close out, and now he's going to be there. So it's one of those things where Minnesota overall has to be able to punish teams that feel like guards and wings can guard Naz Reid and Julius Randle, because it can't be a both-end scenario with that lineup. You know, we've seen Minnesota go to that zone with McDaniels, with Reid and Randle. It's been fantastic. Okay, we're trying to figure out what that is. It can't also be we're taking Naz Reid and Julius Randle off the table offensively. Mm-hmm. So I want to hear that. Now, back to Nikola Jokic, man. Hey. Here's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. One, casual shot making. Two, the different type of ways he gets to buckets makes it hard to really just say, okay, we're going to do this or put this insert person here on him. And so it's going to have to be a team effort because he's going to move around the board. He's going to initiate. They're going to go ahead and rip screen him into the post. And the no hesitation he had in that game against Minnesota, when he called it and he saw Rudy Gobert, he said, yes.
Let's go.
This ball is going to the basket. You're coming with me. Mm-hmm. Not a lot you can do with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. And I think through the first 2 games of this one, the fact that he hasn't even really pressed the 3-point button yet, you know, that is something you sprinkle in some of these pick and pops. Like that was one of the fun things I was tracking during the Houston-Denver matchups that we've gotten treated to as of late. Just like, man, Houston is selling out a third defender to these Jokic pops. They do not want him to take these. Like the final frontier for Jokic has always kind of been, we know he can make any shot from the middle of the floor. We know he has these floaters. We know when he posts up, he can just boogie on people. You kind of just have to pray that he's not making threes too. And so the fact that he's been a 40+% 3-point shooter this year, on top of everything else he does, on top of the playmaking, it's like, okay, there actually just is not an answer for this dude. We can't double him. You know, we had a whole Jokic breakdown earlier this season about what happens when you send 2 defenders to him, and then they put him in the middle of the floor, and that makes that more complicated. It's just kind of tough. And so, like, I do wonder for Minnesota, and for Rudy in particular, if he's just going to get the assignment outright. It's like, not can you goad Jokic into 3-pointers because he's just too smart of a player. Like he's going to take threes because he wants to, not because you're like tricking him into doing so. But like I do wonder, like, does this turn into a high volume 3-point game for Jokic at all? And if so, like what would be the factors behind that? Is he just feeling it? Is Minnesota kind of zagging where other teams zig? Like, okay, we're actually not going to send a third defender. We're going to try to keep this 2-on-2 as much as we can. We got Jaden and Rudy. Jaden, you're going to have to navigate as best you can with Jamal Murray and Jokic in action. What does that look like?
So, let's see. High volume Jokic 3-point game. How many is that? Like 8?
Maybe.
So he took 6. He took 6 last time against Minnesota. Made 3.
That was 0 in the first, yeah.
So I would say pretty much. Yeah,
he can do what he wants, man. Yeah, he's
gonna take whatever he wants. It's fine. I think, and I'll throw this out for you, right? How decisive is Anthony Edwards going to be? Because I think that's been a big growth mark for him. He's been playing well, but Denver, again, going to throw different stuff at him. So even if you want to turn the corner, there's going to be a body show. We're going to show help. We're going to communicate. We're going to force you to skip. Like they've thrown out switching against them. They've thrown out traps. They've thrown out zone defense to give you your little tip to cap, since you always wonder how much zone. Denver did a good job of mixing in zone as well. So I think the key for Denver is let's keep Anthony Edwards off balance. Let's get their offense out of rhythm. And then let's do what we do on the other end.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly in that second matchup, and again, that was the first time Ant played Denver this year, I think they went zone pretty early in that basketball game too, just to throw a different look at them. One of my favorite Anthony Edwards things, and like this isn't new per se, but it is very funny where teams, to your point, are like, okay, let's throw drop at Anthony Edwards. Okay, now let's bring a guy to the level. Now let's trap him. Now let's sprinkle in this layer of help, etc. And then we just get to a point where Ant is just like, actually, I don't want a screen. Give me the ball. I'm just going to dribble into a post up, or I'm just going to attack. I do wonder at what point Anthony Edwards taps that button, where she's like, actually, none of these guys can really guard me. Like Peyton Watson is a good defender, Spencer Jones is a good defender. So like, not to try to disrespect them, from Anthony Edwards' view, like I don't think there's anyone in the league that he thinks can actually defend him. And so I wonder, like, when he taps that button, because it is going to happen at some point during this basketball game. How quickly does he tap it, I think, could be instructive as to where Minnesota's offense is flow-wise. And so that's going to be a fun one for me. Because I think if this does turn into, actually, I'm just going to attack. I don't need a screen. We're cool. Let's see how often you want to help. Can we generate some shots? That'd get fun. Or you got to jump in. I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're good, man. Keep cooking.
Okay. No, the Ant stuff is fun. And like even some of the mid-range shots he was able to get into in that matchup against Denver earlier this year. I will say quickly to your point, 33% switch rate against Anthony Edwards in that November 15th matchup. 23% blitz rate in that matchup. That's the third highest that Ant has seen in a game this year. And so this is absolutely, I would anticipate, a level of we're going to have Jokic at the level whenever he does try to put him in action. I guess related to that, if we do get Jokic on Rudy, like, hey, how often does Ant want to make that pass to Rudy if we get 2 on the ball?
Well, this is the difficulty for Minnesota when teams decide to switch Julius Randle or Naz Reid. Your pick and roller becomes Rudy Gobert. And will the pass be made? Will the pass be received? Will there be a finish? Put you in a box. So do they just kind of not try and do as many pick and roll as possible, or do you want to you're going to want to put Jokic in action? But then again, because like we mentioned, Denver's wide up versatility, they can do a little bit different things. So, okay, that's fine. You want to put Jokic in action? We'll have him guard this person. Now what? So it gets tricky.
He was fun. Like, I do think Ant is passing the ball more in pick and roll this year. And like Rudy Quiet has kept 73% on twos this year. Like it's more of, at least watching him this year, it's been more of will he catch it more than will he finish this year, which is a shift compared to like I'm kind of worried about both right now with some of the stuff that we saw last year and the year before. So we'll see what that portion of the program looks like. What kind of foul drawing can he have? What kind of offensive rebounding will we see for Rudy? Like he's an X factor in this matchup. He always is because of how important he is to that defense. But especially within this context, like, hey man, if he can hashtag do his job, that does give Minnesota's offense a higher floor against a Denver defense that, especially since Aaron Gordon's been out and Christian Brown's also been out, he's not going to be in this matchup. Like, it's been an inconsistent run for Denver defensively, and understandably so when you were missing two of your best defenders. So there may be some stuff for Minnesota to poke at. Also, while we're here on Minnesota, I just want to quickly say the name of Bones Highland, who's been giving them some decent minutes as of late. I don't know how much we see of him in this matchup. Well, not the immediate deep breath. I can't shout out Bones Highland.
We're coming off a game where Mike Conley had to start the second half and help save the Minnesota Timberwolves.
It's true.
And you immediately go to Bones Highland. And I am supposed to receive that well.
Well, see, I was leaving Mike Conley for you.
That's not accurate. Okay.
But no, shout out to Mike Conley. But no, it's been, I think between like Bones Highland, more so like Rob Dillingham, there's always kind of a spotlight on, okay, what exactly, who of the young guards will pop? Because to your point, Mike Conley had a huge second half. You don't want to need Mike Conley to save you in that aspect. It's like you would like to have a contingency plan, so you don't need Mike Conley to do that, and it's more of a bonus that Mike Conley can still knock down shots, operate and pick and roll, communicate off the ball defensively. It's been fun kind of tracking some of the leeway that Bones Highland's been getting as of late. That's the major point that I want to make. No Conley slander intended. That was all.
Okay.
That's there we go. We're gonna get out of there. I did want to circle back last couple of things from me. Curious about what the non-Jokic minutes going to look like. You already hit the major notes about how Julius Randle and Naz Reid are treated, particularly when they're on the floor together. That battle versus Denver's second unit, which notably has played much better with Jokic off the floor than they have in years past. That's going to be a fun one. How much switching can you get to if JV's on the floor against one or both of those guys? Like, I'm curious to see what that battle's going to look like. And then circling back to the Jamal Murray, Jaden McDaniels of it all. Like, those two have had some battles over the last 2-3 years. How high are the pickup points for Minnesota going to be is the thing that I'm tracking. Because we have seen in regular season games and in playoff series between these two, where we have like a 3/4 pickup for Jaden McDaniels. We just want to bother and tire out Jamal Murray. There are obvious counters because Jamal Murray does not mind getting off the ball and running around or receiving an off-ball screen or flowing into a pitch and catch kind of thing. Like, that cat and mouse is going to be fun for me to track between those two. So wanted to add that in earlier when you brought up Jamal Murray and Minnesota wanting to keep him in a box, but wanted to get that out there. Had it in my notes. So I'm excited about that.
Fantastic. Love to hear that. What's up?
Thank you. Did you have any closing Wolves Nuggets thoughts or questions?
It's the first time they're facing off on December 25th.
Okay.
And Denver's going to play for the 6th time in the last 7 years. Minnesota, their 4th appearance in the last 10 years after none in their first 27. And I finished this with a question for you, Nekias Duncan.
Okay.
Nikola Jokic. I'm going to give you a hint here. Nikola Jokic, because of time, is one of 3 players to have a 40-plus point, 15-plus rebound, 15-plus assist game on December 25th on Christmas. Can you name the other 2?
Okay, so I'm going to guess Wilt Chamberlain.
No.
Okay, well, that's fine if he didn't do it. I wasn't going to miss him again, I tell you that. Sure wasn't. Okay, so 40, 15, and 15, you said?
Yep.
Magic Johnson?
No.
Larry Bird?
No.
Okay. 40, 15, and 15. James Harden?
Correct. You have 2.
Okay. Cool. Luka Doncic?
No.
Okay. 40, 15, and 15. I just don't think LeBron's had a 15 rebound game on Christmas.
No.
Okay. Russell Westbrook?
No.
Okay. Did we get like an Oscar Robertson game?
He did it. Only because he thought of Russell Westbrook, but he did it.
We are so back. Not back at all. We are so back. Oh, man. Much like we'll be back later in the week. But thank you for listening to and or watching this episode of The Dunker Spot. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We are on Apple, Spotify, RIP Google, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the Yahoo NBA YouTube channel. This is where you'll catch us, the big number, a lot of familiar faces and friends among the network. So please check us all out. Catch us there. You can catch me on socials at Nekias NBA. You can catch Steve on socials at Steve Jones 20. And with that, happy holidays. We'll catch you later in the week.